Now, if you have had the privilege of looking at this month's edition of the Africa Watch magazine, and there's a picture in it that we were looking at and having a bit of a laugh. You have Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo Addo sitting on a hospital bed, and wearing party socks, MPP party socks. Is this a drawing, an artwork, or a picture that the Africa Watch magazine got from the hospital it claims it got all the medical reports from? And that's the question Mr. Eko was asking. So if you can look at that, all right, I'm showing it to you. The socks is MPP. Right. Right. Now, let's go to the phone lines and then speak to Professor Yao Edujemfi. He is Nana Akuffo Addo's physician and he's former president of the Ghana Medical Association. Thank you very much for your time, Prof.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning to your panelists and yourself.
Thank you. Now, this Africa Watch magazine report about Nana Addo and his health is rather serious. The things he talks about as the matters that he's been diagnosed of in this particular hospital are rather very serious. What do you make of them? Why is it that you did not detect this and tell your clients about them?
Let me say that the way you put the question is as if he was suffering, he's sick, and that I couldn't manage it and therefore referred him elsewhere. No, Nana Addo is very fit, and you can see him on his pump going about campaigning. Anybody who is seriously sick, looking like the picture you showed, would not even be fit to stand up, let alone undertake this gruesome campaigning schedule and to be interacting with people and undergoing all kinds of, let's say, uncomfortable environment, in quotes. He's able to sustain and survive all that, and he cannot be sick in any way.
I see. The paper reports that it has Nana Addo's medical report from the Wellington Hospital in London, and it puts a number of things in quotation marks, which make people want to believe the things that it has reported about what Nana Addo is supposed to be suffering. You know, a cancer at a certain stage, which we are now told is supposed to be at an acute stage.
I don't know whatever they're talking about, but I think I've read the article, and they make a most of some figures that they quoted in there as having a prostate-specific antigen level of about 89 point something.
Yes.
Now, as he says, the prostate-specific antigen is something that is protein that is secreted by prostatic cells, and everybody has the male. Every man has a prostate, of course, and they secrete this. The levels are usually point something to about 4 nanograms per milliliter.
Right.
That's normal level. And if from 4 to about 10, you, let's say, observing and then planning what to do if it should exceed 10. But in doing that, you will take certain steps to monitor. Now, Nana Addo's PSA, as that in June, is 0.03, well below the 4 level. And it's well below the 89 or point something that was quoted in the article.
Okay, you're saying you examined him. You examined him in June of 2016.
Yes, he doesn't have any cancer.
And was
anybody
zero
with cancer with that kind of thing, which presumably will have metastasized and all that, will not be able to run around as he's doing. And then the article goes on to say that he has acute renal problems.
Right, and acute kidney injury, enlarged
kidney
heart.
injury, and all that. Now, when you have acute renal failure, usually you're unable to pass urine or pass minimal urine. Your kidney, anybody's kidney, is the organ in the body that purifies the blood of all the impurities that accumulate as your body goes through certain processes to sustain your life. If your kidney fails, or the kidneys fail, then these impurities build up and they can kill you within days if nothing is done. What is usually done under these circumstances is that you undergo dialysis, meaning they connect your blood system to a machine that will wash the blood of these impurities that are likely to kill you. And in the acute phase, you're likely to have it done at least 3-4 times a week. In fact, the acute phase may be done sometimes every day until it gets to a certain steady state. Then you may go from once, twice, 3 times, and so forth. And also when that happens, because you're unable to pass urine, your volume, the volume of your blood increases, and therefore you're restricted in your water intake. There are certain foods you can't eat. Your meat intake is even restricted. Nanado eats anything, drinks water freely wherever he goes. He eats anything that is put before him. He cannot have any kidney problem, and he does not.
Okay.
They also say he has heart failure or enlarged heart. Your heart pumps blood that maintains your blood pressure and so on and so forth. Now, when it's failing, it means the muscles are getting weak. Therefore, it's unable to pump enough blood into the system. Therefore, you can't engage in any activity, strenuous activity. In some patients with very bad failure or heart disease, they can't even turn in bed easily. Here is a man who goes about complaining the way he is, moving about, engaging people, sometimes dancing with the crowd. He cannot have any heart disease, heart problems, as I see.
Right. Interestingly, you put out a bit of his medical, record, and we know that often this is not done, and there's been a question about the need to have, particularly people who want to be president, have their medical status known. You are compelled now by this report to now tell us the contrary of what his medical record is.
It's sad that I had to do this, but the journal, the magazine put out certain figures,
right? Very
misleading. Maybe something to say to conform to the picture that he put out at the back of the magazine. So I was compelled to come out to state as it is to respond to that particular detail.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's not usually done.
Right. But will he be looking at putting out his full medical record, for example, in the way that Dr. Indum has sought to done over the years?
Well, that has been suggested in the magazine. But in that case, are you asking all the candidates to put out their medical records? Can we even, in fact, to actively go back to ask certain questions of former president? But I think it's leave things as they are, and I can assure you, on authority, that the flag bearer of the MPP, Akuffo Addo, is very fit. It's very healthy.
But is this hospital a hospital he visits at all?
I beg your pardon?
This hospital, the Wellington Hospital, is it a place he visits at all?
Well, let me put it this way. I became his physician, let's say, last 2 years. Before then, I wasn't his physician.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know.
All right. Doc, thank you very much for your time.
You're most welcome.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right. Now, let me hear from you, Ms. Aiko, too. If from what his own physician is saying, Dr. Yao Edujemfi is saying, Professor Edujemfi is saying, then the suggestion is that this publication is completely false, just a fabrication by the Africa Watch magazine. Then this is, you're a lawyer, this is highly libelous. Will Nana Addo allow this to end at this point, just by reacting to it and saying that I am not sick?
Well, this is the campaign season. The man is very busy on this campaign trail. It could be diversionary, because me looking at the pictures, and as I directed your attention to, somebody sitting on a sick bed using, wearing MPP socks, would immediately draw attention to some
that's artwork.
Yeah, propaganda and some artwork, to show that your leader is not strong enough. So why do you follow him? Again, I mean, ethically, we all know that these things are not put out. Especially you are talking of British, standards. Then I will be more than surprised that a British, hospital will be leaking out information of their patients, to be published. And sometimes some things that look like medical reports or test results being shown and all that. It is not done anywhere. So I think the whole story, is nothing more than some propaganda meant at, if you like, getting people not to vote for him or follow him, as it were.
So Nana Addo's answer should end at his reaction that he has already given, that this is only propaganda by the
libel and slander, I think we have 3 years within which to institute an action. So he can finish whatever he's doing now. Putting up the story, his doctor has told us, we've all seen it with our own eyes, whether the man is moving or is in bed. And he keeps moving all the time, making his speeches. The last time I checked, there was a campaign rally at Wale Wale. I was told it had rained heavily that day. And at 12 midnight, the man was out there in the open making a speech, which was streaming live. Everybody could see and even hear him. Wale Wale in the north, north, upper, west, or east, at 12 midnight. This cannot be a sick person. I put it on my Facebook, in the lighter, mood, that we are not children. We all know what cancer patients look like. They're usually, skinny and losing weight. This guy appeared not to be losing weight. As far as I'm concerned, he does not appear to be losing weight at all.
Especially when this report shows that he's suffering the abnormal,
We've had friends who have suffered renal failures, and like you said, when I looked at the figure, I couldn't believe it. We all do this thing once a year, so please, those of you who have not been doing, go and check. Once a year, and we know the figure, 0 something to 4 something. How can somebody have 89 something, and he's still kicking and alive, and he does everything that any normal person should be doing? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense. Because he could have then slowed down, considerably. And that's why sometimes you begin to point fingers somewhere. You see, at the beginning, certain people started saying that the vice presidential candidate are taking over the campaign, and that the presidential candidate of the MPP does not appear to be strong and fit enough to do his own campaign. So that everywhere it was Bawumia who was seen. And in fact, there was a story put out that it is even been decided that it is the Bawumia who will lead the campaign. Somewhere along the line, they see the man doing his campaign. Then they said, oh no, because Bawumia went and said somewhere that the register is bloated, he's brought so much shame onto himself that he has now vanished. He doesn't do campaign anymore. That is why the guy has come up. So you see, there is a finger which you can see pointing somewhere.
and you're pointing this one.
There's a finger pointing somewhere.
Oh,
This whole thing has just been put out there. And I'm not surprised that immediately any NDC apologist is called, say, we don't want to discuss illness for our presidential candidates. As for that thing, we don't want to talk about it. In fact, the president has even advises that we don't want to talk about it. Meanwhile, they started this whole thing saying that the man is not fit, and Bawumia is the guy who's going to lead. Have we forgotten? Not many months back, now that the man is everywhere and is kicking, so let's go and see Steve Ballon. And let him put something out there that, look, the man has cancer, he has this, he has that. And looking at our population, it's a bit problematic. It is not, a very literate society. So people put out any story, and it is easy to be believed by the uninitiated, those who do not want to read. How many people have even bothered to go and buy this thing and read it? But they are hearing the story, say, Charlie, your man is not well, oh, your man is not well. If you don't take care, it may have the effect that they are looking for. But I believe and hope that his antics out there, his outings, the things he's doing, is sufficient evidence for people to see that he's well, and that this story is a concocted story from somewhere.
James, by this report, and from the report itself, the figures that it gives, and gives the normal, the PSA ranges, which it says the highest should be around 0.4. Yes, and here this paper says 0.8. That's what Nana Addo is supposed to be suffering, acute. And so any casual reader should know that he should be in hospital rather than running around. So why would anybody think that anybody would read this report and believe it?
Samson, let me place on record that the publication in the Africa Watch is not a press release signed by the General Secretary of the NDC or a statement.
But Anado said you guys have been making
or a statement
accusations
issued by Chairman Potofi. This is a publication
the Interest Department
made by Africa Watch magazine. It's a renowned tabloid.
Oh, really?
No. Very informative. It's widely circulated. And so when they come out with a publication, in as much as I would not play politics with the health of anybody, it is important that steps are taken to either discredit the publication or to give credence to the publication.
By who?
No, wait. By those who are affected by the publication. Honorable Ayikwe Otu has stated, and he's a famous lawyer, that they have 3 years within which to deal with such matters, legally. I would have thought that if the publication is not true, it's not genuine, at least names have been mentioned specifically. Wellington Hospital in the UK. And so, for instance, the publication of the medical records of a patient is unethical. And so how the information leaked, if it is the case that the information leaked from Wellington Hospital sources, they ought to be addressing the issue. We need to hear from Wellington Hospital so that we can all put the matter to rest. But right now, what we are hearing is that Nana Addo is on the campaign trail. He looks very healthy, etc. I hope so. And if it were indeed the case that Nana Addo is not in good health, I would wish him a speedy recovery.
At least you heard his physician for the first time on this show.
Yes.
Giving you the contrary.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Who do you believe? His physician or this report?
Well, the physician has spoken.
Right.
Africa Watch has written extensively. And they have even mentioned specifically the hospital where Nana Addo is supposed to be receiving treatment.
Right.
The physician said he's been his physician for 2 years. And so anything beyond the 2 years in question, he's not able to speak to those issues. I think the matter needs further interrogation. Look, let us all not be hypocritical about these issues. I know they come with a lot of emotion. But we cannot and should not make campaign issues out of the health of our political leaders. That I share in that opinion. But if you consider the fact that under Article 69 of our Constitution, a ground for impeachment is that
ill health.
Yes, ill health. That whatever, somebody
including conduct,
infirmity of body and mind.
In body and mind is a ground for impeachment, and therefore, from the outset, if an opposition leader is alleged to be unwell, okay, is it an issue that is worth discussing? And I have been following closely American politics. The last time the Donald Trump campaign raised issues about the health of Hillary Clinton. Is it legitimate to do so? But if the accusation is made, quickly the Hillary Clinton campaign, when the Donald Trump campaign raised issues, came out and strongly refuted the allegation that Hillary Clinton was not in good health. It is for good reason.
So, but something
and so I am saying that I am saying that beyond what Nana Addo's physician has said, specific mention is made of a hospital in the UK that Nana is supposed to be receiving treatment.
You see,
let the hospital come out.
There's a question I asked you. It was to you personally, that you're an intelligent, you're a smart guy. Having read this and having been told of what the normal PSA should be, and this report giving you the PSA that he's supposed to be suffering, this acute kidney, heart enlargement, and all of that, you would think that naturally then he ought to be bedridden. He ought to be in the hospital. So are you tempted to believe this story in the first place?
Well, first of all, Samson, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a lawyer. But I can also tell you without any fear of contradiction, friends of mine, family, appeared to be very healthy. The next moment, they were gone.
You're a lawyer indeed.
No. The next moment, they were gone.
So,
which is why I am saying that in as much as the issue should not be politicized, once the allegations have been made, Africa Watch has raised certain allegations about the health status of Nana Akuffo Addo. They have specifically mentioned a hospital which is supposed to have been negligent and allowed
so
the
what
medical...
is your invitation? Your invitation
My
is
invitation is for the Wellington Hospital to come out and speak to the issue.
Who
so
should
that we lay the matter to rest once and for all.
Who should prompt them to speak?
First of all, Nana Addo's lawyers could write to the hospital.
Okay.
Because medical reports are confidential in their nature.
That's right.
And so if the reports have leaked and the hospital is not saying something,
those about politicians,
and they are false, in order to further heighten the falsehood related to the medical report in question, let Wellington Hospital speak to the issue. Honorable Ayikwe Otu could write to Wellington Hospital. And then the matter is laid to rest once and for all.
Ajawo refused to listen to people.
And in all of this, like the question he also asked, and I sought to ask his physician too, whether or not, you know, it was important for him to put out his entire medical report like Indum sought to do and may do again, you know, and whether or not all of us, these issues also should engage us, people who want to become presidents. And as he pointed out to the Constitution, these are some of the grounds that if they are found later and they are true about a president, they are grounds for, you know, removal from office.
I think it's right in saying that when you look at our democracy, we look at our systems, even multimedia, if somebody is coming to work here, the organization or management may want to be sure the person is fit to be able to perform his or her functions. I want to agree with panel members and others who want to say that, look, health issues are health issues. You have to be very careful about talking about people's health issues. But when it comes to governance, people are applying to occupy various positions in the country. And my challenge here is that when we ask them, or people or politicians, to file their nominations or their applications, we ask them to bring tax clearance certificates. We don't ask them to bring medical reports. And I think that going forward, we shouldn't place priority over on tax clearance certificate over and above the health certificate of the person. We will not lose anything if we add that one in addition for both parliamentarians and the presidential candidates. If we are able to do that, it will help us. Let's come to African Watch. You know, media is there to put out things that are factual, things that would help us to educate people, things that would contribute to the development of society. So if you put things like this out there, and you know that they are fabrications, then you are creating a problem for society. The question I'm asking myself is, how do we regulate this in our own context? And this is where I want to go back to the media content law that was proposed by National Media Commission. Yes, we've not seen it come.
It was passed.
It was passed, good. Now this thing has been passed. How are we implementing it?
It's been injuncted for now.
It's been injuncted, okay. You know, so I think that we have to look at it again. But going forward, my proposal is that, one, health issues are health issues. But two, as a nation, corporate Ghana needs its human resource to be fit. So if parliamentarians, presidential candidates, or politicians want to put themselves out for public offices, please let us review our laws and require of them, in addition to tax clearance certificates, they should add a health clearance certificate to that one too, so that we are double sure of ourselves. Because in recent times, we've seen a number of our parliamentarians going. I mean, they are passing on, and we don't like to see it like that. Do we ask ourselves that, do we know their health status? Yes, we may know. But then if it becomes a condition, then all of us can help the process. James has already indicated, giving some pointers as to what the flag bearer can do. Well, when I saw him sitting on the bed with the NPP stocks, I was asking myself, when he was going to the Wellington Hospital, did he carry the socks with him, or it was supplied to him in the hospital? You know, so when you read things like that, you are tempted to disregard these particular publications. And personally, I've decided to rubbish it. But whatever it is worth, my position still stands that, look, let us cause our political leaders to come up with health status report in addition to tax clearance certificate anytime they are filing their nominations or anything for the purpose of applying for any public office. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Labi.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, there's a saying. I learned this in first year of secondary school. Mens sana in corpore sano. A sound mind in a sound body. Now, we know Nanado to be of sound mind, at least from his pronouncements and so on. We know the current president to be of sound mind. We know of other political operators to be of a sound body or sound minds. Now, when it comes to the issue of sound body, you may want to ask yourself what it means. Is a person capable of performing certain functions as a political operator? Just because, is he hindered in any way such that he cannot operate effectively were he to be in power? I mean, my presidential candidate, Ivor Greenstreet, for example, he has a physical disability. Everybody knows it. But like we all know, physical disability is no hindrance, or should be no hindrance, in the performance of political duties. Roosevelt, was it Roosevelt?
Yeah,
it was Roosevelt, yes. He was in a wheelchair, and yet he performed his functions, correctly. In other areas of activity, like you have people like Stephen Hawking, right? Severely disabled, he only communicates with a communicator. He doesn't even move. This man is one of the biggest brains in the world. Professor, in the area of sciences. There is no hindrance in that respect. But we have it. But if we, even if we have in our constitution, that you must be, of a sound mind, a sound body, and so on, and that the lack of these two things, that is soundness of mind and soundness of body, should be reasons for impeachment from that hallowed office. what I would want to say is this. In as much as that is the case in the Constitution, it also enjoins us to ensure that we act ethically
Right.
in relation to each other. Not only at the level of politics, but at the common, sensical, human level of relationship. And if you want to talk about people who are sick, there are millions of them in Ghana, people who require medical attention. And I believe that it would have been of better merit and credit to this publication if they had done an expose on the physical condition of Ghanaians. Maybe done 2 or 3 case studies to highlight the need for better medical care in Ghana, rather than maybe highlight the case of somebody who is obviously, apparently not in ill health, or is of sound mind and of a sound body, creating unnecessary,
So was Addo right to accuse the NDC, so to speak, particularly the president?
Yeah.
He said that he has now become the subject of the president's campaign, particularly his health. And then today they say he's that, and so they can continue for how long they want, but he is trusting God, that he is fit, and he's trusting God that nothing will happen.
But I want to believe that Nana Addo is of sound mind in a sound body. And I want to believe that the president, I would want to believe that the president, and that neither the president nor any of his cohorts are involved in this kind of business. The other time it happened, it wasn't only the opposition who were raising questions, but even the president's own people. I will mention a Conspio Gabra, right? Like they use it. I mean, I don't want to repeat it. Peeing inside is better than peeing from outside. But he was actually peeing from outside in the full glare of the public, creating the impression that the sitting president was not well. What does it do? It creates the impression that you want to occupy that seat, right? And therefore you're going to sully the image of the sitting president.
But presently, that accusation, there's no evidence that the president has been doing this about him.
Fine, but what I'm saying is,
so the NDC is accusing him of trying to even use this to get some sympathy, votes.
Well, but the point I'm making is that it may not be officially from the NDC. It may be from some of their sympathizers. And the point I'm making, and what I want to say is that if they want to create the impression that they have a penchant for, fabricating stories, fine. They have to answer that question.
This is a silly season, isn't it? Now, that's what Obama calls it. And as you know, this show is also available later on the ABN TV, Sky Channel 236 in London and elsewhere in Europe. And that's the television station that is known to be the best for blacks. Now, there is a statement from the hospital, and it comes on the back of enquiries that were made by the ABN television that I'm talking to you about. And this statement is dated the 31st of August 2016. And the important portion of the statement is simply, and this is signed by the PR, Andrew Meldrin, and it says that for reasons of patient privacy and confidentiality, the Wellington Hospital is unable to disclose details of individuals who may or may not have been treated at our facilities, unquote. This applies to the claims that medical records have been disclosed, and it will be good to see copies of these medical documents. Kind regards, Andrew Meldrin, 111 Buckingham Palace Road, London, and a full address and telephone details have also been given. So what they are seeking to suggest is that some inquiries have been made from this television station, and they want to see these so-called medical documents that Africa Watch has put out and is claiming they are coming from them so that they can react appropriately. But for now, in the meantime, that's my understanding of the statement. In the meantime, they state that, quote, for reasons of patient privacy and confidentiality, the Wellington Hospital is unable to disclose details of individuals who may or may not have been treated at our facilities. So they would not have disclosed any information.
I believe this is the position. We all know that communication is privileged between the doctor and the patient. So nobody would, generally
but they
disclose.
do get leaked sometimes, don't they?
Oh, yes, but when they are leaked, they want to see the authenticity of what is out there.
Right.
Because it could be leaked. That is true.
Okay.
But if my friend Agaga tells the whole world that we should write, me, I should write and say I want information. It's good up.
Okay. We'll take a break here.
Merchant of libel.
He's doing nothing more than doing propaganda.
We'll take a break here. We'll be right back to continue with the discussion.
Nothing more.
The credibility of the hospital.